Well, good morning. My name is Mark Taylor. I head up the UK Transactions Department in the London office of Dorsey & Whitney. I say good morning, of course. Good morning here comes 4.5 hours earlier than in London, which, when the call came from the receptionist this morning, I thought there'd surely been some sort of mistake. But having a 2.5-year-old daughter, I have to say, time really has no meaning, so it's not really a problem for me. Dorsey is an international law firm. We're headquartered in the US. We have offices in New York, Minneapolis, Seattle. We're pretty much all over the US, about 18 offices. I shan't go through the entire list. But the key thing for today's purposes is that we have a very large office in London. We have also principal offices in the Far East. In total, about 700 lawyers. And I'd say that Indian capital markets work is a pretty key part of our practice. My colleague, Jamie Benson is just over here, will be speaking in a few minutes. By the way, Jamie has a 2.5-week-old daughter, so for him, not just time, but sleep has no real meaning. The two of us are part of a team which includes both English and US qualified lawyers. We've advised between us, I don't know, 20, 30 companies coming to the public markets in India and elsewhere. So my part of the presentation is really to give you some sort of flavour of the legal issues around a London IPO, an operation based in India, and explain a bit about what the lawyers actually do in that process. Jamie will then talk briefly about offering shares to US investors, both in a London IPO and also for domestic Indian companies, because some of you who are here because you want to raise capital. We hope at the end of this session that you will decide that AIM is the right place to come. If you don't, then either way, it is a feature of issuings over the last 4 to 5 years that going into the US has become a more and more popular option to access capital. So let's just look in a bit more detail at what distinguishes AIM from London's main market. Just a quick visual demonstration here. So these are the listing rules and associated regulations. Now these are reduced to A5, so on A4 they take up quite a lot of space. These are the AIM rules. Now, as you can see, they're a great deal lighter. A bit less space in the briefcase, or, I mean, you're a bit more technically advanced than we are, so probably the hard drive or the USB stick. But as you can see, the AIM rules are a great deal lighter than the regulation that applies to the main market. And I think this really reflects the point that Richard made, which is the AIM rules are there to achieve a balance between regulation and flexibility for companies which are really setting out to grow. AIM is a company established for growth, is a market established for growth companies. And this flexibility is also reflected in the regulatory machinery of AIM, as well as its rules. So again, as Richard explained in the very first keynote address, the oversight of the AIM IPO process and the ongoing supervisory function is assigned by the exchange to investment bank or other corporate finance advisor known as a nominated advisor, or NOMAD. An AIM company must maintain a NOMAD at all times, otherwise its listing will be suspended and ultimately cancelled. On London's main market, not less than 25% of the shares must be in public hands, that is, not held by management or promoters. This is known as the free float. There's no free float requirement for AIM companies, but really without a reasonable amount of shares in public hands, say 15%, liquidity will be low and it's a pretty unattractive candidate for listing. There's no trading record required for AIM companies, contrast a 3-year record for main market companies. Although, other than in limited cases, again, a company with no track record will find it pretty hard to float on either market. The key selling and regulatory document for AIM is the admission document. A prospectus is not required unless it's a resale offer, which is, I have to say, virtually unknown on AIM. I've never actually advised on a retail offer for AIM companies. There have been, I think, one or two, but very, very rare. In contrast, the main market of the UK requires a full prospectus, even where there's no public offer. I think there are really two principal consequences of this. The first is that AIM admission documents are lighter because there are fewer prescribed information items. That's not to say that the document does not have to contain a great deal of information, because as with a full prospectus, there's an overriding requirement to provide all information which is required to enable investors to make an informed investment decision. So on both the main market and AIM, you have that requirement, as well as the individual prescribed information items.